All right, it's 5:30. Call meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. The first item on the agenda is the reorganization of the board. I am going to appoint Harry Olson, the temporary chairman of the reorganization committee.
Okay. Gotta find
Oh, you want the?
just the agenda.
Yep.
Okay, so we've opened the reorg meeting. So we accept nominations for president of. Nation. Or I guess there are any other nominations. Is that what,
3 times, yep.
okay. Anyone else?
Is that 2 or 3?
Anyone else?
That's 2.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Nominations for vice president. Anyone else?
I nominate Chelsea.
You got a good chance of winning, Chelsea.
You got a good
Yeah.
He said Chelsea.
I thought I said Justin.
No.
Okay, never mind.
So we're sending that one. Any other nominations?
Justin.
Anyone? All right. All in favor of Chelsea as vice president, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. It always goes really smoothly. You have to appoint clerk, park attorney, and executive.
Can we do all these 3 together, you think? We do, okay.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Callan as the clerk, Pete Hinkle as the park attorney, and Ellie Delores as the...
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That will adjourn the reorganizational meeting, and we'll move into our
Okay.
meeting. Personal appearances, and Drackerman, lead us off again.
You want. Caitlin can go. She would be next. If you want.
Right. Good evening, President Olson and members of the Park Board. Ryan Ackerman, Administrator for the Service Review Board. To give you a real brief update tonight, there hasn't been a whole lot going on in the last month. We do have a couple of updates with regard to outstanding issues that we've addressed, and then also a couple of bid openings. The various phases of the project. Really, what I want to draw your attention to here is we've got bid openings scheduled for tomorrow. For the concession stand, Discovery Barn relocation, and the camel exhibit. Those are being bid as a package. Bid opens tomorrow on that, so we're looking forward to seeing those numbers. Been pretty good interest in that thus far, so we expect that we may see 3, potentially 4 prime bids on that one. The larger flood control project, MI7E, so this will be the levees, flood walls, opens on July 25th. We also have increased interest on that one, which we're very happy about, potentially up to half a dozen prime bidders on that one, whereas when we bid this the last time we had 1 bidder. Now we're going to see if we can convert plan holders to bidders. That's always the key. So that's on the 25th, and then right on the heels of that one, we have the bid openings for the Magic City Express building and restroom here. So a lot of bid openings coming up here in the next couple weeks, and we'll keep you aware as we get those numbers and start moving forward, hopefully, with budgets. Really, I'm not going to go through the drone flight. Not much to see here this time around. Going to be very similar to what I showed you last month. Known concerns that I wanted to talk about and address. We'll kind of keep this list going here. The access road around the pre-consolidation pile in Roosevelt Park. We've put some asphalt down there in the meantime here to keep that drivable surface. until the construction gets going in just here. And then also I had our contractor put a more kind of semi-permanent construction fence around this chain link, something better than the 4-foot orange safety fence to keep the kids from playing King of the Hill on the thing. Also, joint board approved reimbursements for the marketing boards that were submitted by staff, so not a problem there. We're going to wait to get the invoices for the pool cleaning equipment for the wading pool, and also the pool screening on the northwest side of the main pool. So it shouldn't be any issues with those at all for reimbursement. I've been working hard on the last stuff. So anticipated disruptions, nothing to speak of here in the short term. We will know more again after these bid openings in a couple of weeks, and then hopefully after this short delay in progress, we'll be going potentially in late August. With that, take your questions.
Questions?
You have success. Seven. Where does that take us? Through 26 or?
Will very likely be into the beginning of.
Well, I wish you well, because it'd be great to get it.
So Ryan, MI8 runs from the west side of the zoo, right? Going west side of the park, I should say, to the west. Is that MI8?
That's MI6.
MI6,
MI6.
okay.
Yeah, so MI6 is downtown up to Roosevelt Park. MI7 up to the pool basically, and then MI7 is from the pool through. MI8 is Burdick South.
Gotcha. So is MI6 going through a rebid?
Basically, what our plan is, we're going to use the information that we get from our bid opening on the 25th to determine our path forward with MI6 on the 6th. We have a bid hold period of 75 days. That 75 days expires at the end of the month. So we're going to basically try and figure out if the market is telling us that it has changed that significantly. In other words, if we get a number of competitive bids on MI7 and those prices are comparable to what we got as a low bid for MI6, we'll award both and start moving. But like I said, the prices that we got were so far out of whack compared to the engineering estimates that we couldn't, at least with MI7, move forward in good conscience because 50% over the estimate and we got one bid. So there's just no confidence in that number. But basically, we're going to, hopefully we get multiple bidders on MI7, 25th, when we bid that. We use that to further evaluate the bid that we got for MI6, and that could be awarded as soon as July 26th.
For MI6?
6.
Okay. So both will be going on at the same time, pretty much like planned before?
Yep.
Okay. Thank
Have
you.
this 2-month period that we've had to use to regroup. See if we can, knock on wood, we'll have better pricing.
Any further questions for Ryan? Thanks for being here again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Caitlin, do you want to move up to the front too and bring your helper?
Hopefully.
All right. I don't know. Maybe kind of fun.
We had swim lessons this afternoon. I'm Caitlin Kreider with JLG Architects. Thank you. And good evening, commissioners. So we're working on the pre-design for an indoor turf facility next to the Mesa. And so I wanted to show that today. You could bring up the program. I don't know if you can zoom. So the green spaces on this program are spaces related to indoor turf. We're looking at about a 30,000 square foot turf field. And just for size considerations on that, that's about 120 foot by 215 foot turf space. That would fit up to 4 baseball, softball user groups at the same time if you gave them about 60 foot by 100 foot space to practice in. It fits 3 futsal, 60 by 90 foot fields with clearance zones around it for running. And it fits 1 U10 pitch field. So that's about the size that we're looking at right now. In addition to those program spaces, there's mechanical and electrical room, maintenance and storage for maintaining the turf space in the building, party rooms, 2 of them that would fit anywhere from 15 to 25 kids, depending on what type of party it is. A custodial space, restrooms that are all going to be ADA accessible. One of them, we're also looking at having an adult changing table so that it would be accommodating to Prairie Grit and other users. Then there's storage space, about 800 square feet. From the user groups that we had on June 12th, it was pretty evident that they did not want to sacrifice turf space for storage space. So everybody said that they could bring in their gear, but we obviously still need some facility storage there. And those would all be on the lower level. On the main level, we have a suspended walking track that's about 10 foot, 10'6" in width, clear width from the structure. Conference room and office for the turf manager position or whoever would be managing the scheduling of the facility, custodial, and restrooms again. And I'll show this on a plan coming up, but those would be the green spaces associated with an indoor turf program. Then we explored a second option of if we have a shared lobby and spaces and shell out a space for future programming, what that would look like. And then in the blue, the shared lobby spaces, it would add about an additional 10,000 square feet that you guys could use day one for additional party rooms, turf storage, additional restrooms, concessions, if that was of interest. And then the shell space that would be on programmed right now, future space, would be 35,000 square feet. We could go to the next. And this program was derived off of our May 23rd kickoff meeting, our June 12th user group meetings with different turf users, plus the July 9th progress update that I had with Ellie, Jared, and Callan. So this first plan is the main level. If we did a standalone pre-engineered metal building structure for indoor turf alone, we're offsetting it from the Mesa facility so that way there's flexibility in the future for that programmable space if the need were to come. And this structure up here, we would have a, can you zoom in? There's a vestibule coming off the parking lot. It would have its own office and conference room and restrooms upstairs, along with an elevator and stairs. And then that walking track goes around the entire perimeter of the field house or turf space. And if you go to the next floor plan. And this is where there's a few different dashed lines, but that shows approximate sizes for the different user groups. We would have divider curtains to divide the space so that multiple user groups could use it at once. And then there's two, on the south side, 2 party rooms that would be rentable. They could be revenue generating, the maintenance space, and a mechanical room. And then the second option that we're presenting is what if we shelled out in between the 2 buildings and left that shell space for future programmable space. This is where you add an additional 10,000 square feet, 5,000 on each level that could be used for restrooms, shared circulation space, party rooms, concessions, and other programmable space. And that also frees up more space on the indoor turf for additional seating or relax areas. Like if you were to have a community play day, there'd be a little bit more room for strollers and blockers, cubbies, different things for people. Any questions?
Thanks, Caitlin.
What would be like the shell space? What would the inside of that be like?
So you could just leave it as open, probably like a sand floor, dirt floor, and then whether it would depend on what you guys would want to do with that space. Possibilities are endless. It just depends on what your programming needs are. But there's some advantage to shelling it now, and then you can have that a little bit more easier access to turn it over to a usable space, depending on what that demand is. Or we could just offset our building so many feet, and then you can always fill.
What with that shell, it's going to be sand floor. Could we put turf on that also?
If that's what the commissioners decided or
We could
activities.
so we could have 2 turf facilities basically on that sand. Going back to the main one, the walking, or I'm just trying to give a concept of the space.
So what we sized it for is if you had like 2 regular 30-inch narrow lanes,
Yep.
and then a wider lane for wheelchairs or strollers, so that if you did something with Prairie Grit, there'd be accessible lane for that.
What that one lap? Do you know what that equals? You guys figure that out? I'm just kind of looking. I'm trying to think of what the Y is. I know it's like 8 laps a mile. Just trying to get some idea of the.
Be about 220 by 120. So that would be your lap size. So it would be
They're going to make me do math.
What was the 100?
880, about 880 feet around, give or take. I don't know how that. I'm not a
Yeah.
runner.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to get conceptual what space, how big it is. You know.
It's too far to run.
Yeah.
So.
I would be out of breath with the laps.
So with the user groups, did any user groups think it should be bigger?
For the walking track?
No, the turf.
For the
itself.
turf, well, I mean, obviously, yeah, they would love to have more space, but that also just depends on budget.
It's cost, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cost driven, but when we had our user groups, if you took soccer alone, they walked in, they pretty much said that they wanted every time slot available. And then baseball and softball are like, well, so what's left for us? So, I mean, there's definitely a high demand. Even we met with Kevin Harmon at Mine State, and they have so much demand that they would even come and use this facility for training so that they could offer theirs for more spectator watching. So there's definitely a high demand. We just weren't focusing on this based on it. They want a practice training facility. They don't necessarily need a spectating facility or
Yeah,
somewhere
I'm
to
just
hold
looking at
games.
the turf space itself. I'm
but-
just looking at turf. And then what other facilities you've done in the past couple of years? Is this average size, small, big? What
This would be about average, yeah.
should be average?
Mhm.
So. And the bigger ones, do you know where the bigger ones would be at? The
For like how many
turf,
fields?
bigger,
or
bigger turf field. Do you know what? So you
Easily,
can go out and look online. Or,
2 to 3 fields. Like it be
And
more
who've done-
dedicated to turf. So
and who've
there'd
done
be-
those? Do you know what towns have done those lately?
Right now we're working on one with Alexandria, but that's only a 2 turf space. And then I'd have to go back and double check, but there's been a whole bunch in Minnesota mainly.
I get it's all, obviously bigger is more money. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. Does the site that we have allow for bigger?
Depending on how much dirt you want to bring in. Because you do have all the way to the road there where the fireside
Yeah.
lounge is. Obviously, we're playing with grade, or we could always layer. There would be enough room if you wanted to go bigger. It's just cost concerns, and then also the state can bring in more dirt.
Does a bigger facility equal we need more parking spots? What was that
There's
decided?
ways, like if you weren't double loading, there's probably ways they could work with 60% on that to make you're not adding, not using, but you would have to obviously not be using this side of the facility heavily. Arrow's game, hockey, state hockey.
Do I remember right that you said you would have capacity?
So that was just based off of a quick code analysis. You have to technically take the turf space and divide it by 50 square feet.
So the restrooms on 2 levels?
Yep.
One?
Yep. And then there's also a request for lots of bottle fillers. So right now we're showing 6, 3 on each.
It's like, is it? You've got the version we see right now, it's shelled out in the middle. The other one, it's not. More cost effective to do as much as you can right away? Or does it really matter if you leave that middle spot just totally open? Or like,
So
how does the industry look at that?
the cost of building, it's obviously cheaper to do it today
Okay, yep.
than 10 years from now. But it also depends on where that puts you at for financing. But obviously the building will cost less if you build it today.
Is there like a more expense because they're trying to
fit it
So it
into
makes it a
two?
little bit more complex. So if you do the standalone building, that makes it really simple for this first phase. We're not trying to connect to another building, but then they would be coming back and trying to connect in engineered metal buildings. It can be done. It just adds a little bit more complexity.
Any other questions for Caitlin? All right. Appreciate your time and work, and thank you much.
Yep.
You
Okay, you're up.
Got a question?
Got a question?
Any other personal appearances? All right, if not, we can move to the approval of our minutes from our June 18th board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Justin, second by Mike. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bills for $1,593,583.94.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And a second. Any questions for Callan on the bills? Questions? All right, Callan, you can call the roll.
Hubda. Hammer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kirkhammer. Olson.
Yes. Salaries for $483,874.60.
I'll make a motion to approve the salaries.
Motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion or questions? Discussion. All right, Callan, call the roll.
Hubda.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kirkhammer.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Callan, anything to talk about on the financials?
I will just add that the field work for the audit is basically done, and so there's a couple adjustments that they want me to make, and I'll try to get finished up within the month here and get that back to them, and so hopefully they'll be able to present here in the next couple of months and get on to finishing up the year.
Cool. Questions for Callan? All right, if not, let's move to reports. Jared, and lead us off.
All right, Parkwood President Commissioners, don't have anything to add to my submitted report. There is a couple items I'm asking for board action on. The first one is Minot State University has requested cross-country meet at Sears Valley Golf Course October 5th and October 26th. Currently, we have a Minot Public Schools has a meet on October 5th. Visiting with Steve, we could possibly host the high school one in the morning, maybe possibly host the college one in the afternoon. If they would be okay with going in the afternoon, then we're only shutting down for one day on that. And October 26th does work for the golf course. But they also requested the day prior for practice on the 4th and the 25th. And that is something I don't think we would have room for. And we do always bring these to the board for approval.
All right.
So we already approved the high school one on the 5th?
High school one has been approved already.
So we're gonna just
We'd be looking at
We're gonna-
trying to have Minot State the afternoon of the 5th. If that doesn't work, I'd probably bring back in August another date. Otherwise, we would like to get approval on the 26th as well.
what are the wishes of the board?
So on the 5th, you're looking at pretty much no shutting down the course the whole day.
That is correct.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
Because if we just have the high school, what do? They open up in the
Yeah, we
afternoon?
typically would be able to open up tea times 2, 3 o'clock, maybe, depending on how many runners there are.
That's close to the end of the season. I asked Mike if that's things you gotta do.
How often is the course still open on the 26th?
He basically tried to shut.
We don't know the weather, but do they usually do these cross country meets in any weather? Do they ever cancel them? Don't know. I mean, I'm just saying
If I
that
rushed past, I couldn't
I think-
tell you.
they should go.
I think it's pretty miserable sometimes.
Yeah.
So then there won't be golfers in, so if there's a chance, okay.
It's rain or shine.
Jared wasn't a cross country.
But you weren't a
runner.
cross country
That's
guy.
what it is.
I'm just kidding.
We're establishing that Mike is not a runner at all today, though. We know that. But you do run.
Anyway,
I think that cross country is mostly in any and every condition.
Yeah.
From,
okay. Okay, I was just looking at conditions then, so,
If the golf course is closed, would we give them the 25th as a practice day? Or,
I would say more than likely, yes.
yeah, more than.
I mean,
Hopefully
hoping
we're not
for-
closed on the
we-
4th.
Officials, we're hoping for nice weather.
Oh, yeah, no, I get you.
November.
Yeah, no, I'm all in. Trust me. All right, it's an actionable item. Do we want to do something?
Seems like doing
Is that a motion, Cliff?
is that a motion for just October 5th?
Yeah, is it for the 5th or for the 26th as well?
what you were trying to do with both of them
On the 5th, and Minot State is asking for the 26th also,
as an additional one.
as an additional day.
And might state if they ever had a cross country meet here, or I mean, in the last
Not that
recent
I
years.
It's
remember.
been a number of years that they have.
I think the 26th is that like their conference championship.
That is correct.
Yeah.
the motions for both.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the 5th and the 26th. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? All right.
Okay, thank you. The other item is two more surplus items for the zoo. They're two, and it is concrete, not concrete, big waterers. So they're big ones you'd see in feedlots and things like that. We used to have them in our old bison area. Have not used them since post-flood. So we would like to ask them declared surplus.
I'll make a motion to declare those surplus.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right. That's it.
And I'd answer any questions to my submitted report.
All right. Thanks, Jared.
Okay,
Good.
and Steve is handling a problem at the golf course. He's fixing the internet, I'm sure. But I know he would say it's been very, very busy. Even on the hot days, he's still having good turnouts. So, well, it's been very good. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, I just like commenting. Good, you got second round. I've had nothing but positive feedback on. Great. Good work.
yeah, it's a great asset. I mean, James and his crew did a great job finishing up, and the sod Mike's crew did on it looks, when it all comes in, it's going to tie in really nice. So, again, thank you.
I think it's been junior golf. Contribution.
Yeah, that is correct. Great partnership.
Thanks, Jared. Mike?
Yeah, I really have nothing to add to my report other than the course is looking really good with all the rains, thunderstorms, the little heat coming up, but we're looking really good out there. And like we just said, the course has been busy.
Anything for Mike? All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. Jeff?
The only thing I've got to add is Dr. Wood is finally returning back to work. He was invited down to participate in a symposium down in Brazil and ended up when he was returning this weekend, a lot of canceled flights due to weather and spent 60 hours, I think, in airports trying to get home, but he should be back to work tomorrow. And then African Plains building is moving along. I think Ellie's going to fill you in a little bit more later on in the meeting, but a lot of exciting things happening.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? All right, we can go to Mesa. Bob.
She did, thank you. The only thing I just have to add is we are going to be really busy now with the west rink, the sand floor rink that we have. James Koo has been great. We've had a little snafu with some materials, wrong sizes coming here, so it's not on their part. So once those get in, they'll crank those out in probably a day or two, and then we will start getting the sand leveled and then start the saturation, which takes anywhere from 3 to 5 days. So right now I'm tentatively looking at hopefully we'll do the Pepsi ice out in the west rink starting around the August 12th week. And then we'll have the Pepsi out for about a month, and then we'll get that started late September, and then hopefully first week of October we'll have all 3 sheets going for the winter season. So, and then we have about 40 days, and then the college team start captain's practices, and Toros will be here, and hockey boosters, figure skaters start their winter season, and school starts. So we're just going to enjoy our last 40 days and finish up projects. And hockey will start, and skating will start. So we're looking forward to it, though. So it's been a good summer. Otherwise, I'll answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Bob. Anything for Bob? All right, James, maintenance.
We're just plugging along with daily pool and splash pad maintenance, irrigation here and there. Really been focusing on playground surfacing this last week. Probably be wrapping that up this week.
Is there an issue at Radio City with
the
we
have
splash pad? Was there something? Maybe not.
We do have a small
Water main.
water main leak there. Yeah, we've been working with a contractor to get on their schedule to get that fixed.
It's still open, right?
It's still open, yeah. It's just leaking into the pit there, and the floor drain's keeping up with it. So
I walked
we're just
into
monitoring that.
Corbett Field the other day. I saw that garage.
Yeah, that looks
That
good.
little spot has looked the same since I was
Yeah.
his age.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
that turned out
whoa,
good.
holy cow.
Yep. So we have some painting to do over there yet, but we're gonna wait till after the season.
Anything for James? All right, thanks, James. Horticulture, Shannon.
I don't really have anything to add to my report. We're just in the maintenance phase of the season now, and kind of in that lull where summer sports will be finishing, and we'll move right into the fall. In about 3 weeks is when all the fall sports will start up again. So kind of in that transition phase of our daily duties. But I'd answer any questions if you have any.
All right, anything for Shannon? Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Troy, forestry.
I can give you an update on the Dutch elm disease trees. We've identified 69 so far in town, with 19 of them being boulevard trees, the rest being homeowner or privately owned trees. So you guys are keeping up with taking them down as soon as we find them. And then we're sending out abatement letters for the private ones, of course. If you have any questions, I can. What was that? Yes. So when we find a tree, we mark the tree with orange paint. We do put a door tag on the door. If they're home, we talk to them ourselves. And then we do send out a registered letter to the mail postal.
So do they have to take it down then?
Yep. They have 20 days. And then sometimes we get some holdouts, and then we'll resend out another letter. And then after 20 days after that, we'll send it out for bids and then do the abatement, and the city will assess the taxes cost. It's about 20 more than we had last year, but it's up around the whole state, I think, with the moisture, because it is a fungus. I think last I heard Bismarck had 200, and that was like 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, it's up. We've seen a lot of fungal diseases this year. So, yeah. Not quite double, but yeah, about a third more. Yeah.
Anything for Troy? Thanks for not hanging one on my door. I appreciate it. Tom, adult recreation.
As far as the building goes, pretty slow here now this month. We have had some birthday parties, and we're just getting the building ready for our indoor season. As far as the complex goes, we have the state fair tournament this weekend, adult softball, and then for 2 weekends in late June, we hosted some youth baseball tournaments up at the complex, so they took advantage of the turf fields. 10U, I believe it was, and 9U or 10U, not 10 and 9U. So I think that went real well, talking with the people up with Dan Dangerfield and his crew. So hopefully they'll be back to take advantage of that. And I think it allowed them to maybe expand their tournament a little. So it was good to help them out. That's all I got.
Thanks, Tom.
How many teams for
State Fair, I think we're at 38 or 39, which is down just a couple. This year, the Softball Association is running it. So I think I had 38 registered, and I believe there's one coming over from Williston that will pay when they get here type thing. So.
Then last year, did we allow some camping?
Yes, and again, with the prices, hotel rooms, like I buy hotel rooms for some umpires that are coming over from Devil's Lake. They are expensive. Like I think I can't recall, close to 300, I think, a night.
Did we have people camp last year?
We did, and someone had called this year, and I had said that would be okay. That's the only real time that we allowed, or at the state tournament too. But
maybe at South Hill or
South Hill East parking lot, or that's where we'd like them to be. Yep. And then we James and security, we have security that comes through there. I believe around 11 p.m. midnight in that area. But the hotel costs, I think, are really kind of putting they're not helping the tournament. Not as many out of town teams. We have pretty good in town participation, but there's not as many small community. Don't see the Beulah Hazens coming up this year. Out east, we do have Animus coming in, but usually we have a couple teams from them coming over. Williston usually is a big supporter of the tournament. I don't think we have maybe one women's team from Williston this year and stuff, but room availability and room cost is definitely a factor.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Ann, youth?
The 4th of July marks the middle of all our summer programs for kids, so we're officially in the second half now of the summer for those. We'll finish everything up, all the programs on August, a little earlier, just depending on how the 8 weeks falls. And then with 4th of July, we had our 4th of July festival at Oak Park this year, very well attended, all kinds of activity around there. So Juan did a really good job with that event, and he's stayed busy with a lot of little events around the parks this summer too.
Thanks, Ann. Any questions for Ann? All right, Mark, you can wrap us up.
Tennis and pickleball we're right in the middle, like Ann said, of all of our camps where we have 4 more weeks left. Kids are having fun. All the courts are filled up, kind of unplug and play, and some really good stuff going on there. All the pickleball leagues are doing well. And, what was it, like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, we did, well, it was a year ago, right? It was a year ago. The board kind of decided to do Roosevelt Park, and that's been wonderful. In the morning, it's packed with pickleball. In the evenings, it's packed with pickleball, and the Hammond's doing well. So I was talking with someone today, the importance of having separate facilities and how that can help both sports and then blend them together. So it's worked out really good. So both facilities are really being well used, and a lot of excitement in both sports. So it's pretty good. We want to thank you for that.
Anything for Mark?
Last year, didn't that pickleball group put on a tournament around, was it late summer, early fall?
That's scheduled for this year, September 14th.
Okay.
Independence Inc. kind of runs the show. This is 100% just me gloating, but you should know that Nolan Moore was defeated by me 7-5 in our annual 4th of July match. So when you see him, just point out that you know, okay?
And how old is Nolan?
It's not important. He's a varsity player. He's going to be an 8th grader, okay? So It was a big moment for me.
He's an old.
That's right. He's like Djokovic, something like that. So, anyway,
Callan, make sure that's in the minutes.
yeah, darn right. Get that in there. If it's not, we're not approving them next month. Okay, new business user fees. Taking that, Jared.
Jared will come up and present those.
All right, Park Board President Commissioners, you have a packet in front of you. They're the proposed 2025 rates. You'll have, one packet with 6 pages and then 3 other individual pages. The first ones, that's the 6 pages. That's pretty much all the rates, individual rates throughout the park district. Everybody will pretty much have 3 columns. Current rate, we put a 5% rate increase, and then we adjusted some rates so we weren't in quarters and nickels, and then we did make some, what we would call a market adjustment. A little more or a little less than 5%. We wanted to make sure you got these today, and then we can dig more into them next Tuesday during the budget meeting. But it's kind of lays it out. So again, that first one is all the individual rates. The second page is user group fees. These are the ones that pay hourly rates. Third page would be the user groups that have flat rate fees. And then the final page is the ICE user rates. So if you have any questions, I can answer them now. But again, we wanted to get them in front of you so you have a week to look through them. If you have questions on those in between, feel free to reach out to Kelly or myself.
So this is something that we are going to look at now and approve at that special meeting. That's the plan? Or
Yeah,
do we know?
so we thought we would want to get these in front of you guys for you to kind of have them tonight, take a look at them, be able to have some time with them, and then we can discuss them as they are part of our budget and discuss them on our budget retreat next Tuesday, the 23rd at 1 o'clock. So if you have questions tonight, please feel free to ask, but if you want to take some time and bring them to that meeting, that works as well. But we have discussed this with department heads and at executive staff level, and these are our recommendations, but we're certainly open to your guys' input as well.
Yeah, again, correct me. If we want more time, we could do it at the August board meeting as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot of numbers.
It is.
I mean,
Yep.
It's a lot of numbers, very similar, but
Were these that we used to create the budget with?
Yes.
All was 2025?
The 5% increase. Yep. We went with, for the most part, 5% overall because we have held them for the past 2 years. The goal would be able to deliver these to the user groups once our budget is approved, so they can have them for their budgets. Most of them are a year calendar, so we'd like to have them in their hands so they have them, so they when make their budget, they can make some educated decisions as they move forward, with the idea that then we would have a set 3% moving forward after that and review them when we need to review them.
this is the 3rd year of the current rates.
2024.
Yes, so 2022 is when we put the new rate increases into effect, basically January 1. We did make a few adjustments last year with a few programs, held some rates, restructured like at Cameron, and then held some flat rates, but this is pretty much what we've been with for 3 seasons.
Is that the usual cycle where it's like 3
Commissioner
seasons?
Olson,
or-
before it was kind of, I think it's time to look at increased rates. And now, I mean, we want to get it so our user groups know that, okay, this is, we're doing 5% roughly this year, 3% maybe we say for 3 consecutive years, and then we look year 4 or 5 for a market adjustment or continue on a 3%. But then they have a better way to plan for their budget set for them.
Excellent. Any questions right now on this? All right. Thanks, Jared. Move to old business. We've taken care of the MI7 update and the indoor facility update. Are you talking budget?
Yeah,
Are
I will start it off and then send it Callan's way if you have questions for him. But you guys all do have a copy of our proposed preliminary 2025 budget. We started this cycle in May with our department heads. As I grow in my position, I've truly figured out though the budget cycle never really ends, because once you get done with this one, we just really start over. So I will go through some highlights for you guys, and then we can go with any questions you guys will have. So first off, to start off, what we're looking at here, our proposed general fund, an increase of 4.4% with a mill decrease of 0.34 mills. We did update the mill value to $235,281 to $247,828. In this proposed preliminary budget, you will see a single step increase of 3% for our employees. Also in this, we have allocated $712,200 for capital projects and set aside $100,000 for future development. We are estimating a 4.4 increase for insurance, for health insurance. We did work with our department heads and we updated our income amounts based off the user fees that Jared just presented, and a few of our revenue numbers with, like I said, the department head input and sitting down with Callan and Jared. We did add one full-time recreation position. Our department heads did reevaluate expenses and adjusted where needed to allow for a balanced budget. So we're very thankful for all of their time and energy spent on that. You know, we asked them to cut last year and we asked them to cut again this year. So this is, you hear it with government all the time that it's a really tight budget, and you're going to hear it again. This is an extremely, extremely tight budget that you have in front of you. Just a few more items we looked at. Jared worked with department heads and Callan to make sure all of our lease agreements are in there for the 2025 year. Along with that, we did allocate $350,000 from our fund balance to help balance this budget. A few of the other things just to note, this budget will result in a 0.26% overall decrease and a reduction in total mills by 2.6% with that amount allocated from that debt fund that we're required to zero out. So all in all, a lot of things that we've been talking about in the past 2 years is really looking at that general fund and where we're sitting. We ended 2023 right around 4.5. Our goal is that we would end 2024 right within that area, even with all the unexpected maintenance items that we have occurred. Along with that, when we talk about unexpected maintenance, we're right around $200,000, and we're just at the end of, well, towards the end of July. So as we looked at maintenance with department heads and as executive staff, we really took a look at combining all of our maintenance into one big Minot Parks maintenance fund. We did add about, I think, $140,000 in there to kind of replace what we've been taking just with all the unexpected maintenance items. But as we move forward, we have big long-term goals we're looking at that indoor turf facility and another funding source. But everybody in this room is well aware of the maintenance items that we have coming forward in the next couple of years. And some of those include looking at the Mesa roof, the roof in this facility. We know we have items at the pool that are going to have to take a deep look at. So those are kind of some high level things with the budget. I'll open it up to questions for you guys. I know that you just received it, so if you want some time with it, that's why we're also going to have that meeting on the 23rd to have some really in-depth conversations with you guys as well. So I'll throw it to Callan if he has anything to add, or if you guys have any questions on that as well.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I think she covered the most of it. The big item that was the $350 from our debt fund that we have to allocate in, that is going to cause a few little problems on what we're looking at in 26, just in a larger increase or some bigger adjustments that we'll have to make. But other than that, I think Ellie described it fine.
So remind me again, what's the timeline here for
So
we have as far as approving the budget?
we have to have the preliminary budget approved by August 10th, which is actually August 9th because that's a Friday. So we would be looking to have our meeting on the 23rd, and then we would have to schedule another meeting between the 23rd and the 9th to approve the preliminary budget. And once the preliminary budget is approved, you cannot increase the budget. You can mix in with what you have, but you cannot increase it.
And then when do we have to have the budget fully approved then?
Between September 10th and right.
So we kind of usually do that at our September regular
We
meeting.
usually do our public hearing at the beginning of our September meeting, and then have a special meeting after that for final approval. And I believe that September 17th, I think, is our September meeting. So the goal would probably be do our public hearing that day. Yep, I'll double check here.
The design of our special meeting here next week
Mhm.
is to really talk about this. And I mean, but we can't approve, can't have the first approval at that meeting, right?
We would have to have a special meeting to do that. Yep.
So we're just going to talk about it.
Yep.
Any questions for anyone with what you've seen of it right now?
Couple
Cliff?
questions or observations. Workman's comp is down. That's a surprise. 8 to 5,000.
Is that overall or within one section of it?
Section. Okay.
Yeah, probably. Usually I split the workman's comp just based on the overall salaries within departments instead of trying to break it out between the particular fields.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it probably dropped in the admin side with Ron leaving is likely the explanation.
Is that also how it's done with Blue Cross Blue Shield, which budgeted $17,000 down? I mean, that doesn't go down. So.
That would be based on the plans that people have selected, as well as last year we anticipated a larger increase, and this year it came in lower. So.
This year, we do the AZA accreditation. Is that why we budget that, or do you do that every year?
That's that
Yeah.
will be in 2025.
That starts this year.
Yeah.
Is that enough money? So you take it out of somebody's salary.
Commissioner,
Okay.
start with the
As long
commissioners.
as we get some. It's just an observation on a couple things. Chemicals for the pool have doubled.
That's I'll let Jared talk on this too, but that's in anticipation of some changes that could be happening over there.
Yeah, Commissioner Hufda, we are currently working with AE2S to evaluate our current filtration system, changing that out to a new system. And if we go to a new system, we would look at going from, you would say, a chlorine gas, to a liquid or a tablet type of chlorine, a little bit safer. But yeah, we're doing that evaluation right now. And, hopefully maybe even August, we might have a preliminary number for what we might be looking at. But yeah, we are looking at that hard because we are on, they'll say, borrowed time on our 50-year-old filtration system and piping.
Makes sense. A little like the Freon problem.
Yep.
The double new stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
this system is about 50 years old is what we're looking at. So we've managed to keep it moving along for this.
When there's a line item that says new pension, is that a new?
Oh, that would be the new NDPERS pension versus the city pension.
A couple observations. I would suggest we look at the steps for the director. 2 steps, but I'm not making a motion. An observation, to think about that. And then a question. I really like decrease in dollars and no levy, but is there any room in there that we might either do a little bit of this anticipated deferred maintenance or increase our maintenance balance? So we got a lot of stuff coming. I know there's a lot of those numbers, and you've done a great job on the numbers. I'm just wondering though, a little room, some of that, and any maintenance, even if it's a smaller project, we get done this year. We're not gonna have it, deal with it, big man.
Yeah, and like Ellie said, there's $140,000 being put into the maintenance fund, which is it was around $500,000 this year, and we've spent $200,000 of it. So we'll put 140 back, and then we also have a just contingency line of $100,000 that will be built in to help build general fund, be available for maintenance projects, whatever.
That's 140 is replenishing.
Yeah, basically getting us back to where we were at the beginning.
That's kind of
Where do you
what
think-
I was asking if we could do.
Where do you think it should be?
Maintenance fund?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of discussions about where it should be. We've 500, 600, it's probably okay. I mean, 700 would probably be fine too. It just depends on what projects we think are coming down the line. It's still a working number.
We'll be able to talk about all this stuff next week in depth, obviously, our special meeting. So, any other comments or questions here tonight? Thanks for getting it out. Well, it's a lot of work, obviously, and not just you guys, but all the department heads. So, I'm sure it's your favorite thing to deal with all the time. So, it's good to be at this point, and we'll take it over the next few months or a few weeks, I guess. Other business. Any other business we need to talk about? If not, we'll go to the alcohol permits. See them there.
I make a motion to approve the alcohol permits as presented there.
Motion. Second. Any discussion? Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Ellie?
Yeah, so I just have a few things. We've kind of talked about all the things that I've been working on. Obviously, our budget has taken up a lot of our time. I do want to sincerely thank our department heads for all their work they've done in putting into it, and Callan and Jared for all the long hours to get to this point. It's definitely a teamwork effort. While I get to present a big portion of it, it's because all of this people in this room that we've gotten to this point. So thank you for that. Other thing I've been focusing my energy on is just doing some more sales tax research. I have reached out to other park districts that have done something similar and gotten some really good information from them. We will be meeting as a committee just to talk about possibilities for ordinance language this week. One other thing that I'm having a few meetings on within the community is economic impact numbers and how we can get some good, solid numbers for our facility, whether it be the Mesa, Hoven, Corbett, Optimus, things like that, these are the facilities that are bringing in these economic impact dollars to our community, and how we can really make sure that we're getting that information out there. And the other thing that now that Callan's gotten through the budget and the audit, not that the budget is completely done, we'll be working on the operating numbers for a turf facility. We've gotten some good information from other communities, and then just looking at some of our stuff that we have comparable within our system. So that's a priority as well. And as Jeff said, I was just going to share some pictures. The African Plains building really is Jeff's baby at this point, but it's just some pictures to show you how fast that is moving. They've been doing a great job over there. So there's some photos of it. I think might be one more, Callan. So that will be really great to get that that completed this fall sometime. So that's where we sit with that. But other than that, that's all that I really have to bring to you today, unless you guys have any questions for me.
We just pay that out of the foundation, right? Because the big donation
It's in our
went
foundation.
there, and just as a submit.
Yeah, the first payment of it is actually in the bills that we approved today, and then we'll get a reimbursement from the foundation at some point this year.
All right. Any questions for Ellie? Good to roll to the commissioners' reports. Cliff, we'll start with you.
Yeah. And just a little shout out to James and when you everybody. The name and the appreciation comes from several different. And they always say, James Coburn did this, or seems like get us going, keep us going. Everybody works really, really hard. together, depends on, you're pretty vital cog. So, well done.
All right. Thanks, Cliff. Justin?
I guess we got the ordinance committee meeting tomorrow, so hopefully get some more speed going on that. And I guess I made a phone call to Ellie. I received a call about Green Valley, right? Is that the tennis courts, Green Valley?
Yes, yep.
So I don't know who Ellie directed to go take care of it, but the person called me back about an hour after he called me, apologized for chewing me out. It was already taken care of. So whoever did that, I appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I had.
Mike?
Nothing, I'm good.
Didn't really welcome you to the board very well, did we, Chelsea?
Yeah.
But
We nominated as vice president.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna be gone the next 4 months, by the way. So it's,
I was gonna say, I hope you're not going to be planning to be gone.
I'm good for a couple, probably.
No, I
Chelsea?
just, I appreciate everybody being so welcoming, and I'll still trying to learn the ropes, but I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
It's always fun. You start and you get to deal with the budget right away. So
Quite the introduction.
it's like, all right, why did I do this? No. Okay. And I'm good, so we can be done with that. And I would entertain a motion to close the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? All right. So now we go to the reorganizational meeting. He's in charge now.
Oh, yep, you're back in charge. Back in the driver's seat.
Oh man, I thought it was done. So, all right, we'll call the foundation meeting to order here. Is there any personal appearances at all? Doesn't look like it. So we'll go on to reorganization of the board. I once again appoint Perry Olson as the temporary chair for the reorganization committee.
All right, so that meeting is now officially open. I'll accept nominations for president.
I will nominate Perry Olson as president.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Second.
Sounds good. Any other nominations? All right. It's like the blind leading the blind here with this, trust me. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, nominations for vice president. Any other nominations?
Chelsea?
Any other nominations? Any other? All right, all in favor of Chelsea for vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now we can take the clerk, attorney, and ED.
I'll appoint Callan as the clerk, Pete as the park attorney, and Ellie as the executive director.
All right, any other appointments? Anyone else? All right, all in favor of that slate signify by saying aye. And opposed? All right, with that, we'll adjourn the reorganizational meeting and open the normal meeting. And we have the minutes from June 18th.
Make the motion to approve minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have one bill for $4,143.15 to R&R Specialties. Anything to know about that?
That was a battery for our new ice resurfacer or
Yeah.
old ice resurfacer?
Yeah.
Yes.
One that blew up. I make a motion to approve the bill to R&R Specialties for $4,143.15.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Hubda.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Pitt.
Yes.
Kirkhammer.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Anything to talk about on the statement?
I have nothing to add.
Questions for Callan? Any new business? Sorry.
I don't remember the details, but do we need to appoint board as the board also Foundation?
That's what we're doing right now. We did that already.
The full board.
No, I
Any
think,
of
we-
that?
I think,
Might be a question for our attorney.
I think we've done what we usually do.
Word is
I do not recall doing that in the past. I don't.
I'm not sure what the details are. We did something like, maybe it's not. And if we do, we could.
Everything we've done for the last 6 years is null and void. New business, other business? Hearing none. Adjourn if so moved.
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?